Hello, and welcome to Ideas with Diana on January 29th, 2021. For this podcast, I'd like to discuss some current events that a few people are thinking about in the Chicago and Milwaukee area. Well, one thing is basically some people wonder about climate change. This is the 10th anniversary of what many Chicago radio stations are calling Snowmageddon. And what Snowmageddon was 10 years ago, we had a massive snowstorm. It was so massive that basically the one apartment I was staying at, I was on the third floor apartment, and my sister called me and said, "Well, are you prepared for the storm?" I didn't realize the storm was coming, so I quickly went out to the store, picked up some items, and well, just to give an example, um, where I live, basically, we had drifts that literally went all the way above the door to our building. So many of us were just snowed in until basically the city could dig us out and plow us out. Some of the cars were actually snowed under. So before they could plow the streets, they actually had to dig the cars out, figure out where they were. So when you looked at it, it looked like basically just a big thing of snow. So luckily, I stocked up, had some coffee, had some cookies, some snacks, and just watched TV a little bit, and that's what many of us did. By the time we were shoveled out, it was like about 2 days later, and even getting around, you just saw like these big, huge mounds and other things, and it was quite a thing like that because basically no one had seen anything like that because, like they said, 40 hours of continuous snow, big drifts in Chicago. On BBM, they mentioned how many radio people stayed in nearby hotels so that they could go on in the morning, and it was just it's actually a good time like that though for a lot of people to get together because in my building we actually just went together. We had parties, we had card parties, just talk chats, coffee groups, and basically. But this weekend, we're getting ready for another 6 to 10 inches, possibly tomorrow and Saturday. In Chicago, they're expecting 6 to 10. I'm not sure what is up here. I'll listen to the weather a little bit later. But the thing is, though, whenever snow comes like that, sometimes it's a good time to stock up. Get together family and friends, or just call family and friends and see how they're doing and stuff, and just sort of get along and see, basically. But when the snow comes, just basically sometimes it's just best to stay where you are because depending on your neighborhood, sometimes some streets are very narrow and it takes a while for the city to get through, or even if you live on a wide street, it still can take a while because basically a lot of people will be maybe parking their cars that don't have off street parking like that though. So just try to stay where you are, and but the main thing though is just basically um, people talk about climate change, and yes, we've had our climate change, but don't let the movies scare you. I mean, they've had some movies where they try to scare people, and I don't think that's the right approach. So we'll solve this. We've solved everything else, and even like with this COVID, eventually we'll solve it. We do realize now that there's a disconnect. Basically, the COVID vaccine was shipped out right away in a concerted effort, but then by the time it reached the state level in the United States, basically there wasn't. People wonder if there actually was if someone had planned ahead what to do when the shipments came because it's not there. Not and like in Oregon, according to one Fox News report, in that though, there were many people who stood at 2 hours in the snow to get a vaccine shot, and later they found out the vaccine shot they got was an expired vaccine. Wow, 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 wow. Regardless of what the news source is, that fact is verifiable, whether you listen to it on Fox News or listen to it on another news channel or something. But well, that's something I'm sure. I hope there's more investigation done on that to figure out what happened and make sure it doesn't happen in other places in the U.S. It's beginning to. Well, I just wonder about this vaccine distribution because how in the world can someone knowingly give someone expired vaccine, or even unknowingly give. I mean, why is someone holding on to it? Do they want an extra people to pay an extra kickback to get the vaccine or something? Or well, I don't know. Just wondering. But basically, whenever there are crises, it does open the thing to black markets, and maybe we should start looking about investigating what black markets that do exist in this vaccine world, because of the slow rollout and lack of people getting treated. Maybe it's time to have an untouchable group take a look to make sure that what is the black market level on this, because this Orcon example does make you wonder in that though. Well, moving on, I just wanted I saw something interesting that happened the last 2 days, which I'm sure everyone is aware of who even follows the stock. One may not follow it, but this wild surge of one stock going way up like this, and then going way up again like this by it seems basically it seems like a romantic notion. Basically, you buy this one stock and it goes up 10 times, you make 10 times the money. Well, the thing is though, the thing to realize though about this is some of these trades are made basically on what's called margin. And what does that mean basically? Well, margin means that basically, let's say you want to buy $1,000 in a company of stock, but you only have 200. Okay, well, someone says, well, the stockbrokers come and says, well, look, we'll loan you another 800 to buy the stock to $1,000 of stock. So when the stock goes up, you pay off that margin loan. It goes down, 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 down. But then when the stock dips, you get a phone call. Well, your stock dipped and you went down below your margin amount. We're going to need you to deposit so much money by 4 o'clock today, or else we're going to have to take control of all your stocks and try to sell for what we can get. Please try to respond to this as fast as possible. If you have any questions, call me. But we do need to have it by 4 o'clock. And that's what to some of the people who are doing this, this speculation, trying to hyper growth a stock. Just remember, if you bought it on margin and that stock goes down even just a little bit, basically, and you're going to get that margin call. If you don't get that margin call, and they have to sell your stock, they might when they sell your stock, they may not be able to sell it at the fair market value because there's so many sales they have to do. So maybe a fire sale, and you, instead of thinking you have this much in stock, you have this much, but then what happens, this is how much you owe back. And that's so basically those people who are buying stocks on margin, my advice would be to cool it, halt, take a break, watch Comet, watch Netflix, watch something, but just cool it for a while until this thing settles out. The other thing though is for those of you who have bought stocks for cash, I'd say the same thing. Personally, I'm of the conservative finance school. I've never bought stocks on margin in my life. Never. And even my family, basically, we were concerned in 1999 when the Glass-Steagall Act was repealed. The Glass-Steagall Act was basically one of the two things of the Glass-Steagall Act that made that important. The first one relates to this thing that's going on with this one stock that's been going up like this. First one was basically until 1999, from 1933 to 1999, you could not buy stocks on margin, which means basically you put some cash in, you get a stock loan to buy the rest. And that kept the stock market from having wild gyrations. There's some gyrations, but not wild. And like another person said is today, which basically I was glad they mentioned on WBBM radio, is about re-implementing the uptick rule. What the uptick rule means basically is okay, let's say you have a stock here and the stock is starting to go down. Well, what happens, you buy the stock using inverse DXT, so when it goes down, your fund actually goes up. Well, what the uptick rule says is that basically the uptick rule would prevent people from buying the stock when it goes down get a kickback on the inverse ETF, and I think that's a good idea. I'd support re-implementing the uptick rule. Also, we support re-implementing the Glass-Steagall Act. But the other thing, what happens? We have protections for what's called the floor, and that, like, so for example, if a stock goes down, the stock market goes down, there's an alert, stop trading, or whatever. But we don't have something about over speculation. So basically, maybe we need it. Maybe we need to set a ceiling trigger that basically, if our stock goes up too fast, and like that. Though some people claim that's anti-capitalism, but basically, it's you can have chaos this way and you have chaos that way. But basically, with the events that have been going on the last few days with stock speculation, margins, calls, and puts, even basically, I think basically something needs to be looked at as to how the calls and puts are being used in this situation. A call means that someone wants to buy stock. A put means someone wants to sell stock. But what happens is you're not actually buying stock. You're buying what's called a bet or an option that someone is going to sell stock. So let's say someone may say, well, okay, I'm going to put a put. Let's do it this way. I'm going to do a call that this stock is going to be put on the market at $10 a share. Okay, so what happens? The person pays like about maybe $1 to put the option in. Okay, well, now if the stock goes on the market for that value, then the person gets the dollar back plus a percentage, plus basically a percentage of that call back in addition to that $1. So they may get maybe $1.25 or something else. So basically, they get a hefty return on their investment from that $1. So you get a 25% return. However, calls and puts can be considered almost the same as margin, because basically someone's not actually buying stock; they're putting a fraction down and leaving the clearinghouses to assume the loan for these margin calls and puts. And if the load is too high, then basically we get in a situation like we did in 2008. Where we did have a crash, and I'll say crash. It wasn't a recession; it was a crash. Many people are still trying to recover from it. Even if you ask them, basically 10, 12 years later, they still are. So, but the thing is, what we have to do, though, to some of those people, may think this is romantic, buy a stock and watch it go up like this, and and thinking, well, we can hold this. We got enough to do this. We got enough to buy a car or do something else. A friend, you are taking too much of the strange Kool-Aid. Don't do that. Take a halt. Watch TV. Watch comment. Do something. But don't. If you really want to build an equity portfolio, the thing to do is look at businesses that are going, like what I do is I look at businesses that are going steady in good and bad. Like a lot of people used to joke many times when I go to Wendy's and when I go to McDonald's, they say, well, you're here so often. Do you own stock in Wendy's or McDonald's? Well, actually, at one time I did own stock in Wendy's, and I'm still thinking about buying stock when I do get a opportunity to do so. But I'm not at that opportunity yet. But but basically, a lot of people say, well, and also Barnes & Noble, they say, well, do you own stock? And but part of the reason, like with Wendy's, so just to give you an example, Wendy's is considered an equity stock because they also pay a 10% dividend. And Wendy's, basically, like McDonald's, has always been steady, basically. They've had the moments where they had the dips like everyone else, but even during this pandemic, the Wendy's in my neighborhood is still making it through. So is Chick-fil-A, so is McDonald's, so is Arby's. So that's so I invest in businesses that I know and can observe. So basically, and that's but I don't have any now. I'm not at that point again. I'm still trying to recover from the 2008 crash. I'm getting there, but many of us are. It's still, still taking time to get there. But I do hope that what's going on this week with this speculation calls for some margins. Just please take a pass, because what happens when this wave does hit the beach, many people who have bought this stuff on margin, you may get some margin calls, you may get a lot of debt that you got to make up, and I wouldn't want to see anyone have that happen. So if you want to, basically, I'm not going to recommend stocks, but just take a look at businesses in your neighborhood, see which ones are going good. Like for me in my neighborhood, Wendy's is going good, Chick-fil-A, Arby's, Burger King, pretty good, even Piggly Wiggly, and stuff like that. So, or even like car companies, which at one time I owned Ford stock, and the reason I owned it is because basically Ford didn't accept the government money of the bailout, so I gave them credit for being financially sound, that they actually had planned ahead like that. So, but I'm not recommending anything. I'm just saying what I did in my past experience. But right now, I don't hold any stock whatsoever. I had to sell every the small amount I had when my 2 apartments ago, when my apartment went condo and we were forced out. So, but basically, when I do get a chance, I would like to do it again, because I do think it's a good investment, a good if you know what you're doing, but just be careful of the romantic stuff and the herd stuff like this, what's been going on the last few days. Just be careful, take a break, pass, maybe just turn off the trading screen for a while, and because when this wave hits the beach, it's going to be huge, and I don't want to see anyone get caught in this. So just my thoughts. Well, let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Diana1A. Also, our show site is on Twitter, Ideas with Diana, IDEASWITHDIANA. And to watch this video, our YouTube channel is Diana1K2. Well, let me know what you think. And I'm planning to set up a regular podcast schedule of having the podcast on Mondays after 2 p.m. Central Time. Well, thanks again for listening, and this has been Ideas with Diana.